Today we're talking to guitar designer Trev Wilkinson about the Encore range. Now, the Encore range has long been regarded as one of the best known and most popular of the entry-level brands in the music industry, and literally thousands of players have cut their teeth, or rather played their first notes or riffs on an Encore instrument and retain fond memories of doing so. But even this firmly established entry-level range hasn't failed to escape the gaze of Mr. Wilkinson. So, Trev, what was your initial impressions when you were tasked with the challenge of recently upgrading the Encore range?
I think the challenge was to actually try and build the best guitar you possibly could at that sort of price point. The processes of building a guitar, whether it's £2,000 Fret King or whether it's a £99 Encore, all the processes are basically the same. It's just that the most expensive guitars, the work that is done on them at that last stage where it puts all the sort of, can we say, the finesse into it, which of course you can't do in a mass production method. But what I was trying to do was actually give the most important guitar, which is the first guitar anybody buys, just give it the best specs we possibly could at the price point that we're allowed to do it at, if you know what I mean. So maple's maple, rosewood's rosewood, bodywood's bodywood, shoulder or wuton or whatever it is, a tone wood. I think the difference between the Encore product and the JHS philosophy and a lot of other companies who shall remain nameless is the fact that we try and build everything in even at that lower price point, whereas the other companies take things out to achieve the price point. And I think that is the challenge, is how can you put everything in it rather than take something out of it and still keep it at that price point.
Was it a question of looking at the materials first and then seeing if that fitted in a cost bracket or vice versa?
Yeah, I mean, you need maple for a neck, and the good thing about maple is it grows in many countries. If you start importing woods into your manufacturing area, the price just goes through the roof. So you've got to use woods that are available in that vicinity. So luckily there is maple everywhere in the world, and it's pretty good. It's flat, it's straight grain, it's very stable, which is the reason that it was used in the first place. Indonesian rosewood, Indian rosewood, rosewood is rosewood. You know, again, it's selection that makes things very expensive or makes things less expensive. Bodywood, I think we have actually talked about the bodywood before. It's this wood called wuton that I kind of discovered when I was wandering around one of the factories and asked what it was, and I first looked at it and I thought it was swamp ash, to be quite honest with you. The grain was so light, getting very light, very acousticy. And it turned out to actually be a Chinese tone wood that's actually used on one of their musical instruments over the centuries, called the guzheng. So we actually made the body in that, and it's worked out really well because it's a nice lightweight and it's got tone. And it's just a great wood to use. So luckily we've got the wood there, so that keeps that cost down. Now it's really a question of actually teaching your people how to make the quality, how to shape a neck. Tiny little things like the shape of the heel here. I'm a great believer in that when people look at something, they see something right or see something wrong, but they possibly don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas if you present it to them and it is right, then they don't question it, they just go, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
You know, whereas you get people with sort of like different shapes down here, and you look at it and you go, immediately you just go, that's a cheap guitar. Because the guy who's made it didn't know how to shape a neck. You know, how necks were shaped originally, stuff like that. So we can start from the top to bottom if you want to do that, if that's the way to do it. We wanted to give people sealed geared tuners because, again, it's more of a quality item.
Sure.
So we managed to find those, and they're very good. Very little backlash in them. They can be adjusted with the screws there. One thing that we were really critical about, and a lot of beginner guitars have a really deep scallop here on the neck,
Yeah.
which increases down pressure of the strings. So a lot of that is due to the fact that not that many factories know how to install a truss rod correctly. So I work with the factory and show them how to do the truss rod so that we can have top adjust, and we can also have that shallow headstock in it.
Yes, yeah.
You know, if our potential customers or anybody out there looks around music shops, first thing they look at is, if they look at the distance between here and here, they'll see that most of the low price guitars are quite steep, quite deep, which puts too much pressure over the nut, which you've got no chance of staying in tune, obviously, with that down pressure.
Tuning problems,
Yeah. And then low friction nut material,
yeah.
commonly known as graphite. They do white graphite, they do black graphite, they do all different colours of graphite now. Body contours, keep it as close to original as possible.
Yeah, that's quite heavily contoured.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all.
That's
and
very
it's nicely sanded. It's nicely sanded.
Yeah.
Frets are put in very, very well, and of course we've got 22 frets, whereas most of the low price guitars are 21 frets.
21 frets.
Again, because if you put 22 in, why would you buy the more expensive guitar? Pickups wise, it's impossible at this price point to start using Alnico magnets, because you have to buy each pole piece in an Alnico 5, which is ridiculously expensive. So the normal thing is, okay, let's use a ceramic magnet. And then most people would say a ceramic magnet gives a lot of highs, very, very thin sound. But it depends what size it is.
Yeah.
If you balance the magnetic pole, the gaps as they call it, with the wire and the wires, then you can actually tone the pickup to sound like it's supposed to sound. But you can do it, you know, on a budget, if you like.
Yes.
So we did that. We also went to the trouble of calibrating them. We went to the trouble of doing a reverse round, reverse polarity middle pickup.
Nice.
So in positions 2 and 4, it's hum cancelling. All the features really that you see in the most expensive guitars, we've actually managed to put into here. Vibrato system, yes, it's a budget vibrato system. It's set up right, it will work fine, no problem at all. Bent steel saddles, again, it's the right gauge steel. All in all, the guitar really does punch way, way above its price point.
Well, it looks right and it feels right, so
Yep.
I think that puts any entry-level player on the right path. Really.
Definitely, and if he knows anything about guitars, or he's got a guitar tech or something like that, you know that we've got artists in our roster that have actually played these on stage.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, you need 10 minutes or 15 minutes on the bench just to sort of like do the fret edges and set it all up and give it a bit of a clean and a polish and put the right string gauge on it, what have you. But the reality of it is that guitar, with a few minutes work on it, can actually go in front of an audience of 30,000 people and nobody ever even know.
Yeah.
And that's quite an achievement, I think.
Well, absolutely.
You know.
And the other advantage of, we were talking about the wood tone there as well, is that of course people, young kids or whatever, haven't got the weight to fear of a heavy body guitar. And goodness knows, you know, we've all played things that weigh the same as a pallet of bricks when we were learning. And you know, we've got the back pain to show for it, but no chance of that in this case.
No, it's great, and it is a serious tone wood, which is another bonus.
Yeah. So we think the Trev Wilkinson revised Encore range is well worthy of the little Trevor Wilkinson Design Associate logo and sticker on the back of the headstock.
I think so.
Good.
Yeah. I think it's a nice challenge.
Oh, excellent. Well, thanks for that, Trev.
No problem.